Hi there! So, we have done. I am so proud this time because I'm the worst in terms of being consistent, especially when it comes to share things. So I'm more proud of myself for being able to share every day a video for the entire month rather than be able to complete the illustration, because I'm good in, if you give me a task, I'm good to complete it. But when it's time to make something for myself, like a self-imposed challenge that involves social media, especially, I'm the worst. So this time, I can be proud of myself. I really love how the illustration turned out. So today, what I want to do is to talk a little bit about like a review of the InkYoutober, because I've been shut up for like a month, so I think that give you some my point of view about what you have seen so far could be nice, and also give you some tips and tricks in case you want to do the same type of thing, not necessarily a challenge like an art challenge, but maybe just like 30 days of sharing something on YouTube, or the opposite way. Not something that you want to share, but something like do for yourself a 30 days challenge. So if you see me looking down, it's not that I've definitely lost my mind. It's just that I want to be like a little bit precise. I don't want to just go wild about this topic, because it took me 30 days, so it's something that I can be very passionate and chatty about. But my point is just to, so I have a list of things that I want to talk to you about, or questions that could be nice to answer about the project. That's why I'm looking down. So my first question that I asked to myself is what I would do in the same way. And basically, if we talk about the project itself, I would do everything the same way. I would choose the same topic, and I would make the same decision of sharing every day my process with you, because it was lovely. It was super hard, super tough. I have to be so committed. My fiance, I guess, he wanted to kick me out, because he was like, okay, are you still living here? Because you're working like 14 hours per day. Yeah, but I did it, and it was super rewarding for me. So in that sense, I wouldn't change anything. And what I would do in a different way, as I was mentioned, basically not about the project itself, but about my personal ability of sharing things around social media. I would probably try to find a way to share it more, especially not on YouTube, because I wasn't on time. Every day one video, but on Instagram or Facebook, or with people of my life that I really know, and was something that surprised me a lot. We hanging out with people during this month. People, it's usual, right? When you go out with someone, they ask, what are you doing right now? And so I mentioned the challenge, especially my fiance mentioned the challenge, because I'm always embarrassed by sharing, by talking to people what I'm doing, this kind of stuff. So he told them, and a lot of people really surprised me, because they maybe are scientists, like my fiance, and they text me for telling me, by the way, I watched your videos, I subscribed to your channel, because the videos are lovely, you are doing a good job. And I was like, what? It was really something that surprised me, and that teach me the hard way again, that I have to be more confident and just tell people what I'm doing. If they want to watch it, they are more than welcome. If they don't want, I don't force anyone to watch anything. So just put yourself out there and see how people respond. So yeah, definitely more self-promotion in this sense. And if we speak about the rooms itself, or the project itself, probably I'm not the room that I like the least. It's the kitchen, and I think that's probably because it's the first one that I've done, so I was a little bit unsure about how Acrylics works, for example, since I've never used that before. And I didn't make a sketch more than just drawing the perspective. As you see, the first day, the day one. So maybe there is, I mean, I don't like so much the super yellow floor. There are things that they make the room, it's not my favorite, but I really like them all. I like how they are together. I mean, it's a project, I guess, that for my entire life I will always attach to. And instead, my favorite room probably, tough, between living room and the art studio, because both of them are full of knickknacks and things and random stuff and details, so I guess I love them, both of them. I don't know if I can choose. And what I've learned so much, guys. I mean, I strongly recommend anyone to try to make a challenge. Not necessary to be shared on the social media. I mean, just a challenge, like an artistic challenge, like 30 days of something, because I gain a lot of confidence, because I didn't know how to do a lot of things that I was able actually to put it off. And to I have learned that acrylics can be a good medium, not only watercolor, and that I've learned how to draw, for example, the marble and the wood effect, and there are things that I've never drawn before, and I've drawn so many elements and things and perspective, because boy, I mean, after 5 rooms a little bit of perspective is something that I get it. And I have this is by the artistic side, and then there is the the technological side. So I was able to film and to edit so many videos that I've never think I would be able to. I realized that I can be, if I find a system, it's so much easier. So that's why the preparation that I did was super necessary, and I'm super glad that I did it. So like deciding the type of songs, like preparing an introduction video, like the one that I did, that you see at the beginning of each videos. I think that something about the process could be nice. So for me, for example, I think that my process starts with Pinterest, and when I say Pinterest, I don't mean at all to copy anyone's work, but just to make yourself clear about what style, for example, of illustration you want. So for me, meant to see a lot of like paper doll's house, and realize that there could be a very nice thing to draw. So that's why I went for this type of style. So even the perspective come from seeing a lot of things drawn in different perspective all over Pinterest. And then still about Pinterest, since I was drawing an entire house, there are things that I have no idea how they are drawn. So I look for like interiors, a lot of interiors pictures, even furniture or decoration that in the real life I would never be able to afford, but in my dream house or in my illustrated house, I mean, I can put whatever I want, even if it's super expensive and there is no way that I can afford it in the real life. And so even something that is more modern, like color combination for interiors, all this kind of stuff. I mean, do research. And if you want to draw something, to illustrate something like a marble effect or a wood effect, look for marble and wood and see how they are made, and so you can understand how you can turn them in something that you like. And another thing for me was to make a sketch. So the first room, the kitchen, I just draw the basic lines of perspective as you see me doing in the first, the same was the sketch that I show you and that I illustrated, but I didn't make a thumbnail or a proper sketch on my sketchbook before starting, and I realized that I was losing a lot of time thinking about what to put in where. So for the other rooms, I instead made some sketches, and it was so much easier and does just make more sense. So do some sketches. It's not time wasted at all. And then like make a list of the elements, as I did, was something that was really helpful for me. Then make a sketch on paper, and for me, the outline at the end. I mean, in the kitchen, I did the outline like during the process. In all the other rooms, I made the outline as my last thing to do, and it's something that is better. It does just make more sense. I mean, it's easier to manage and everything. So for me, that's my process. And in terms of tips, so if you want to make a challenge, and that's meant for any kind of challenge. I mean, if you want to make it like an artistic challenge, and I'm not talking about just sharing the process, I'm just talking about the artistic process, I definitely recommend you to prepare a color scheme, because it helps you so much in being consistent through all the illustrations. And it works not only if you paint a house like this, but also if you paint something like that needs to be related together, like groups of objects or this kind of stuff. And don't go too wild with the number of colors, but don't be either too narrow, because for example the bathroom that I just have 3 colors plus the white and the copper, and they were the light blue, the light pink, and the light gray. And it was much more difficult for me to find a nice balance between 3 of them rather than the other room where there were 4. So for me, I guess that 4 colors for this type of project work best than less or more. With more color, too much stuff. There are going too much stuff on there, so it's become a little bit mixed confusion. It's not nice. My personal opinion, of course. And other things, if you want to use like patterns, for example, like try to keep more or less the same. I use the chevron, I use the dots, I use some stars pattern, but don't just put all the kind of patterns in the world. And in terms of fine liner, for example, if you want to do the outlines like I usually do, try to just use one size fine liner, because otherwise you're seeing the difference between the thickness of the marks, and it's not nice. And the same thing in some way could be applied to the brush. So brushes, I mean, it's difficult to tell the size of the brush tip from the mark, of course, but just decide like a small number of brush to use, because it's much more easier. You have them on your desk, you don't have to rummage through your stuff and try to find which one you have used, which one worked best for like the flattened areas or the wide areas or the narrow areas. Just narrow down the choice. And instead, if you want to do something like a challenge on YouTube, and in what I mean here, it's not necessarily an artistic challenge, can be like, I don't know, your diet for 30 days, whatever. The things are different, and my first advice is to work in batch. And that means that 30 days are a lot of days. It doesn't seem, but it's really a long period of time. And in 30 days, anything could happen. I mean, you can have some kind of emergency, and of course, if there is an emergency, who cares about the challenge? But I mean, some minor emergency, like a broken pipe. I mean, you don't need to stop your challenge for a broken pipe. But if you want to share things, I guess that for me at least, I've learned that the better thing to do is to like work, for example, like 3 days in just one day. Like, for example, in October, my parents are visiting me. I cannot tell my mom, sorry. Yeah, you're going to stay here for 5 days, but I have to make I'm in the middle of a challenge. Don't care if you grab a plane for coming here. I just have to work. I mean, it's not nice. So what I did was that for like, in some days, I just did, instead of doing half an hour, I did maybe 1 hour and a half. So I recorded for 3 days. And that's not cheating. I mean, that's surviving, first of all. The second thing, because sometimes you can have your computer broke or your battery it's gone. I mean, there are a lot of things that can happen in a month, so you need to try to work in advance on the things where you can. And another thing, speaking of which, is that you have still to keep your rules up. I mean, I never drawn for like 6 hours, because I mean, my challenge was to work like 15 to 30 minutes each day, every day. So if I can work like 1 hour, maybe there are 3 days, so 30, 15, 15, or like 1 hour and a half, 30, 30, 30. But I've never worked like 6 hours, because I mean, you still want to be consistent with the rules that you set up for yourself. So that's my point. And something else is to organize first a lot of things, like choose your music. Prepare like a video that it's the introduction of all of your videos, or decide the style of the thumbnails for YouTube, all this kind of stuff. It's really good. Prepare them in advance. And like I edit my videos on iMovie, so something that is the basic of everything. I mean, more basic than iMovie, I don't know. Probably this is the iMovie app. I don't know. So what I did was create a project, and in this project I put my introduction video, the music that I want to use, some pictures that I need to have in some spots with the titles and everything. So every day when I put a new video in, I just need to replace the video and edit the video itself, but I don't have to start all over again the project. This will help you so much. In some days I was able to like edit like 7 videos. That is something that it's impossible for me to do, for example, when I do bullet journal stuff or this other kind of stuff, because they are recorded in a different way. They are meant to be, they are different, so there needs a different kind of editing and preparation. I don't have a template for them, but for things like a 30 days challenge, a template will save your life, really. There is no other way for me to survive it. And I guess my last point is to have fun. Boy, guys, you need to find something that you are really happy to work with. I think that drawing because 30 days, it's a long period of time, and you need something that is lovely, that you love to work with, but something that's also challenging, because otherwise you get bored. Drawing this an apple in 30 different positions for 30 days, I think can be a little bit boring. Instead, like drawing a human body for 30 days, I mean, there are so many ways to draw it that it's not boring at all. I mean, you cannot get bored by the enormous amount of possibilities you have. So for me, a house was perfect because I'm very much more keen to lifestyle things rather than people and animals. So I prefer this kind of stuff. And there is so much different things going on, so different objects, different colorways. So I challenged myself to use acrylic. That was something that I've never used, and I've never drawn interiors in perspective before. So I put these things together in order to have something that I would love to do, but it was also challenging, and that forced me to learn new things. Like, for example, acrylics. When you work with acrylics, you have to keep in mind that acrylics are a great medium, but they has their own rules. So, for example, they dry super fast. That it's a good thing, because you can work in 30 minutes doing a lot of things, because they are dry, so you can move on and add layering on top of them. But if you have some leftover paint, it will be probably dry before the next day, and that's a shame. So you can think about how to maximize the quantity of paint that you are using. And if you want to, for example, prepare a mixed color, it's not easy to preserve it from drying. So if you create a color like my aqua, that was like blue mist plus some green, I knew that I have to make a specific amount to be sure that it won't be dry, but I needed to write down first some kind of recipe to be sure that I can replicate the same kind of color every time that I need to prepare the color itself. So there are some things that are entirely you can learn just by challenging yourself, and that was great for me, because I was able to learn so many things about acrylics, for example, and also about YouTube, because I was able to understand how to make this like an introduction video that it's nice, at least for me, and how to make a good music balance. I don't know, a lot of different things that really can be super. You won't learn it in any other way except if you challenge yourself to try and you push yourself out there and see whatever it goes. And another thing, it's let's go. I mean, sometimes things will not come perfect. I'm a perfectionist, so for me it's a huge deal. It's a big deal. But like the poof in the living room, the knitted poof, it's not perfect. The knitted effect, it's not what I was looking for after I put the outline. There is probably a better way to do it. I haven't figured out, otherwise I would have done. And right now, considering me, myself, and my perfectionism, a part of me is saying you can go over with paint and do it again. And the rational part of me is saying, who cares? I mean, you don't have to sell your painting to an architect that needs to use your poof illustration to make a good one. It's nice, it's still recognizable for what it is. I mean, a poof. It's in a nice color, it's decorative. Let it go. Don't overstress yourself about how you can make things more perfect, because it's not the aim of a challenge. Maybe this challenge will provoke me to make like a pattern of poof, and for making that I will learn how I want to make them in what's for me it's the perfect way. But it's not the case of going back and change things and keep working on something that it's nice and it's done. So I guess that for me, have fun and go with the flow. Let it go when things are not perfect, when things can be, I mean, if something really bothers you, correct it. Because, I mean, I've done a lot of correction. You have seen me doing a lot of mistakes and correct a lot of them. But there are things that I intentionally let it go. Another example is the tiles in the bathroom. The ones on the walls that it's not, on the side wall, there are not perfect. There are some, the lines are wobbly, are not super nice. But if I want to make something that was perfect, I could have used a ruler. My point was to have like a handy style, something that was sketchy, so they are nice. You can understand their tiles. There is no tile person that is coming here and tell me, yeah, but here there is, I mean, this one is wobbly. It's not how they're supposed to be represented. That's not the case. So let it go, enjoy the things, and if there is something that really bothers you, cover it up. Correct it, like I did with the table, for example, or with other things in the kitchen, other things, or with the TV stand in the living room. I covered it up because it wasn't the color that I thought it would be nice to be painted with. Otherwise, let it go. There are things that you can fix, and you should do it if you want to, but you don't have to aim for perfection, because otherwise you will always end up stressed. And I think that a challenge is stressful by definition, because there are always moments where you feel like, oh my gosh, I mean, I've worked really hard for finishing this, and I think that there are things that you will forgive yourself for having done or for not being perfect, and just enjoy the fact that, boy, in 30 days you finished up this huge illustration that is super lovely. It's there, everybody can see it, and it's done. I mean, and then maybe I would never have to illustrate a house again, or maybe it's going to be something that I enjoy so much that I want to illustrate plenty of them. I don't know, but it's something that I would never learn if I've never committed myself to this kind of challenge. So definitely recommend to anyone to do a challenge. And if you have done a challenge or some kind of digital experiment, like challenging yourself. So if you have made a challenge, an artistic one that is on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, please let me know, because I would love to check it out, because I mean, more likes or followers are always nice. And if you have any questions about acrylics or about how to make a challenge, I mean, this is my first challenge, so one I have done in my life, so I am no expert, but still I was able to complete it. So I've learned a lot of things, practical stuff that I would more than happy to share with you. And if you want me to make a video about how to make to set up for a challenge, not in the also in the artistic way if you want to, but I was thinking that it's maybe more complicated about the tech stuff, like how to create like a Word file where you put all the information for the info box on YouTube, or the tags, or how to prepare a template for the YouTube thumbnail, or how to prepare a template on iMovie. All these kind of things I would be more than lovely to share it with you. And because I mean, in 30 days I've learned a lot of things, so what I can share, I'm more than happy to do it. And I hope that you enjoyed the challenge. I hope that you didn't get too much bored by this strange kind of review. If you have any questions, any comments, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And if you subscribe to the channel, I would really happy. And I hope to see you soon. Bye!